Hey, you. We don't like y'all's kind around here. What do you mean, you people? Wait. Wait, don't do that. Don't do that. No, 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 please, please, don't do that. Oh my God. Thank you so much for saving the United States. I missed. What is going on, my beautiful LARPers and LARPettes? This is Magnum Country, and this is the brand new Rossi RM66. This is their reintroduction back into the Revolver lineup that they have been producing for many, many years, and then they got discontinued for many years, and then now they're bringing them back. And specifically, this one here is basically the identical version to the Rossi R972. So look that up. I believe that's what it's called, the R972. So basically, between this one and the R972 that was out like during the 90s and stuff like that, they're almost identical in the way they look. So if you have one of those in front of you, you're gonna see some minor differences here. I don't have one of those, unfortunately. So what I'm gonna do is show off some other guns that are basically from the same manufacturer. And those of you that don't know, Rossi is owned by Taurus. Taurus is making these, but I'm gonna go over why I think these are a little bit better than the actual Taurus revolvers. But before I get into that, full disclosure, guys, Rossi did send this revolver out to me for review for free. No payment was involved whatsoever to make this review. So yeah, just want to get that out of the way for you guys. Now, like I mentioned earlier, guys, Rossi has been making revolvers, or had been making revolvers for many years before the discontinuation. And I'm not too exactly sure on why they were discontinued. So those of you that are more knowledgeable on the subject on what happened to Rossi, you guys drop a comment in the comment section down below and let me know what exactly happened with Rossi with their discontinuation of their revolver line, or their pistol lineup, I guess. Now, I won't bore you anymore with the history, guys. I'm just gonna get straight into the details for you. So right at the front here, you're getting a 6-inch barrel. And if I didn't already mention, this revolver is chambered in 357 Magnum or 38 Special. You can shoot both of those out of this, or 38 plus P if you wanted to. And you do get a full-length underlug on this barrel. I really like the full-length underlug. I'm not really a fan of those half lug or half underlug style barrels. It's just not really, it's too old for my taste. I know these guns are kind of, I don't know if they're becoming obsolete. What do you think? I think revolvers are still really cool, but when they do have that full underlug, it gives it more of a modern day or futuristic type look. But yeah, it definitely adds some weight to the front of that barrel, so when you're shooting those 357 Magnums, it's definitely going to help mitigate some of that recoil or that muzzle flip that you're getting out of this guy here. Moving on up, you do have this blacked out front sight that is removable, and you can swap it out for whatever front sight you want. And moving on to the rear sight, you do have a adjustable rear sight that's adjustable for windage and elevation on that guy there, which is really nice. I do not think on the other models that they're releasing they're gonna have a adjustable rear sight. This might be the only one, but don't quote me on that. I know that the smaller version will not have an adjustable rear sight. And to touch on the other versions that are coming out, they are coming out with a 4-inch version, which is going to be called the RM64, and then they do have the 3-inch version, which is the R63. Yeah, R63. RP63. Sorry, I think that's what it's called. Now while I'm up here, you do have these nice clean serrations that go all the way from the front or the rear of that front sight all the way to the top of that rear sight there. And on the topic of how clean it looks, when I'm looking at the top of it, the barrel does look like it lines up with the rear portion or the frame portion of this revolver. Really nice. And the reason I mention that is because while I'm looking at this barrel here, it does not mention exactly how they put this barrel on their website, but I believe it is a crush fit barrel. And when companies do crush fit a barrel, sometimes they are a little bit tweaked or a little bit off-centered when the barrel is on there. So sometimes it's canted to the left or to the right, and it's a little bit annoying when you're paying for something and you want it to be perfect and it's a little bit canted. So that's a tip that I want to give to you guys. If you do go and look at revolvers, regardless of what company makes it, and look and see if it all lines up correctly with the whole gun, I guess, from the top to the rear. But so far this one looks extremely clean and straight. Now moving on back, you do have a hammer mounted firing pin. It just makes it a little bit easier with that firing pin being mounted to the hammer, that you can just take that off. If it wears down on you or breaks or whatever issue you might have, you can take that off and swap it for a new one. And within that hammer system, you do have a hammer block safety on this guy here. Unlike the other Tauruses you see here. Now, if you're looking at these Tauruses here, they do not have a firing pin that's mounted onto the hammer. They are basically internal firing pins with a transfer bar safety there. And so I don't bore you with all the details. Go ahead and Google what the difference is between a transfer bar and a hammer block safety, and see what tickles your fancy on those. But back to the Rossi, you do have a push forward type cylinder release that is textured. It's basically identical to all these other Taurus revolvers here. It looks like they're using the same exact parts for that Rossi there. So, and when you do release a cylinder, it is extremely easy to release. It doesn't hang up on you. Some guns I've had that, I don't know if this one does it, it kind of hangs up on you a little bit when you're releasing it, but I can basically release that with one hand. And on that cylinder, you do have 6 shots total, and when you close that cylinder, it is a very nice and tight lockup. It feels basically similar to all of my other revolvers, like my Smith & Wessons and all that stuff that I own. What is your guys' opinion on that whole Hollywood, like flipping that cylinder closed with one hand? I know there's revolver purists out there that are like, that's the biggest no-no that you could ever do. But you guys let me know down below what you guys think about it. Is it cool, or is it something that's just stupid and it's going to ruin your revolver over time if you keep doing it? But for video's sake, let's go ahead and give it a try. Now back to the cylinder, guys, you do have a very smooth ejector rod. And just to note on something, when I was shooting this guy, I did have at least one casing hang up sometimes when I was trying to eject those shells out of there. And it was probably because I was just shooting over and over again and haven't cleaned anything yet, and they were just sticking in there. But just wanted to mention that sometimes I'll get one little hang up in there. Maybe I just need to adjust that a little bit to push those casings out all the way. I did try this cylinder with only a speed loader. I did not try any moon clips or anything like that. So I'm gonna go ahead, once I test this out more, I'm gonna go ahead and try to use moon clips and see if this is able to utilize any moon clips. But also on the topic of that ejector rod, I want to just go over the quality difference between this Rossi and like the Tauruses. And again, guys, just because they're made by the same company doesn't really mean that they are going to be held to the same standard, I guess. When I pick up this little revolver here, I can feel the spring crunching in there. I can feel the rod grinding against that front portion of the cylinder there. It's just very gritty, right? So when I pick up this Rossi, it is, if I can put it up to the mic here, very nice and smooth. And let me bring up this little Taurus. It just sounds like cheap, you know? Now moving on down to the grip. The grip, I'm not a fan of it. I mean, it does the job. It's a grip, it's rubber. It's just a small grip, guys. It looks a little too small for this size of gun. I think on the 4-inch model it'll look pretty good, but on this one, I would have went with a larger grip. I personally love wooden grips. I think these with a wooden grip would set it off to a whole other level on aesthetics. And with this rubber grip, it's just, again, it gets the job done, but I have small hands. Those of you that don't, like, I wear a size small glove, guys. So those of you that don't wear size small gloves, you're definitely gonna have some overhang on this grip here. So I'm not sure what grips would fit on this RM66. When I did talk to Rossi, they said that they were working on some newer grips for this guy. Hopefully that becomes true sooner than we think, but as of now, I don't know any companies that make specific grips for this Rossi here or any of the older Rossis, because I'm guessing they're the same exact frame as well. Now the trigger is very interesting. So the trigger is a wider trigger than the other revolvers that I own, from my Smith & Wessons to these Tauruses here. It's basically almost the size as this 44 Magnum here, this Raging Hunter. If I'm feeling both of them, it feels like this one's a little bit flatter and wider than the 44 Magnum that I have in my hand. I'm digging that trigger. It is definitely a lot wider than the small little guy here. It's extremely comfortable to shoot. And that double action pull isn't really the lightest double action pull, but it has a smooth pull to the rear, and the single action is extremely nice. And that single action is coming around. I have my trigger pull gauge here. Let me put it on camera for you guys. So yeah, that single action pull was coming around 4.5 pounds, and the double action, I believe on my scale, was coming around like 9 or 10 pounds or something like that. When it comes to the smoothness of this action here, it's not lower end quality feeling like the Tauruses here that you see. And I know it's kind of hard to compare this 6-inch to this gigantic 44 Magnum here, or this tiny little 856. But just in general, I can feel the amount of work that they did behind this one here compared to the Taurus versions of revolvers. And it's definitely a smoother action compared to the Taurus revolvers. And it's a very nice single action pull, like I said earlier, but it is not quite as good as a Smith & Wesson would be. Like on my Smith & Wessons, you can feel it's just a smoother feeling action than this guy here. But when it comes to the price differences on them, I'll get into the prices a little bit later in the video. The Smith & Wessons that I own are twice as much as this one here. So it kind of makes sense that they're not putting a super phenomenal high-end tuned trigger into this guy compared to like a Smith & Wesson. But it is not a bad trigger for a gun of this price. Now I pretty much went over everything mechanical on this gun, or the features on this gun. I didn't go over the color. The color is like a satin stainless steel finish, which I'm really liking a lot. I wish they would pay homage to like the older revolvers where they had like that polished stainless steel, which looked really, really nice. Kind of gave that Rick Grimes Colt Python style look with that high polished stainless steel. But this one isn't a bad color. I really like this color. Also, this RM66 isn't really that heavy compared to other revolvers that I've held in this same size. It's very nice and well balanced. I wouldn't mind having this on a like a chest holster or anything, like if I'm out hunting or camping or any of that type of stuff. But now that I went over pretty much everything on this revolver, I'm just extremely interested in the reliability of this revolver. Just because in my experience with the Taurus revolvers that I own, have not been an extremely reliable experience, I guess. Now, when I first got this 44 Magnum Raging Hunter here, I think I only shot like 20-ish rounds before it was giving me issues. I think the issue that I had on it, I'm trying to remember because it was a while ago. When I would cock it, the cylinder would kind of just spin freely. Like it wouldn't lock into place like this. So I contacted Taurus, they fixed it right away, and since then, I've probably shot like another 100 rounds to this thing, and I haven't had any issues, so far so good, but I did have that issue. And on this little 856, it just never really worked right. The trigger, like you can see right there, it just hangs up. So that's not even firing one round through this little revolver here. And I don't know if they have newer generations of this where they fixed that problem. But this one, I don't even know when I got it. I never really got around to contacting Taurus about this and sending that in to get it fixed. No rounds to this guy, and it doesn't even work right. It does work in single action every time though. And I don't know if I'm destroying the gun just by doing some dry fire, but yeah, it's stuck in that position. But anyways, on the Rossi, I did shoot about 350 rounds of 38 special and about 30 rounds of 357 Magnum. Unfortunately, I didn't get the 357 Magnum on video, but I did get footage at SHOT Show of me shooting Magnum rounds, so I'll just go ahead and throw that footage in for you guys here. I don't know what the hell is wrong with me that I didn't turn on my cameras during that time, but I'm just gonna have to get it on film when I do the update video on this gun. But 350 rounds isn't really enough to give me a good solid foundation on how reliable this revolver is. And I have high hopes for this just because of the quality that this is. And I know it kind of is weird that I'm pointing out that these are having issues, the Tauruses are having issues, but I'm not having any issues with the Rossi that's made by Taurus, is because I think they're putting a little bit more QC behind this gun. So yeah, when it comes to reliability, I want to put a lot more rounds to it. I'm hoping to get up to 1,000. It's just a little bit more difficult for me. I didn't really think about it when I first went out, but it's a little bit more difficult for me to shoot the 500 round initial test that I usually do. Just because I did have to load like one at a time or put them on my speed loaders and stuff like that. It just took a lot longer for me to shoot those 350 rounds as opposed to me shooting 500 rounds to a semi-automatic handgun. I'm just gonna have to keep updating you guys as time progresses with this one here. So with all that said, I think the best part of this revolver is the price. It is coming around 500 or so, just like 520 or 510, and that is an extremely nice price for a revolver of this quality. And within that quality, like I said, the Smith & Wesson, there I have a 586, the 6-inch. I get all these fucking names mixed up, guys. But anyways, that one's around $1,000. I don't know what they are used, but this one brand new, you can get them for 500 bucks. If it all pans out and this gun stays reliable like it has been, and I shot the ones at SHOT Show, guys, and those guns did not have a couple hundred rounds. Those guns had probably a couple thousand rounds each while I was shooting it, and none of those had problems. So high hopes for the reliability. I think this will be a great budget option or a great entry level to this revolver world. But as always, guys, go ahead and do your research. I know you're obviously watching this video now to potentially see if this gun would be a good fit for you. But go and look at more videos, go and read more forums, go and ask questions, and go and feel them at your local gun store and see if you could actually shoot it and see how you like it. And go from there and formulate your own opinion. Don't just take my word for things. You guys have to be smarter than that and not just go ahead and blindly follow whoever just says, go out and buy this gun, you know? Like, I don't want to be that guy. But as of now, had tons of fun with this guy. I had tons of fun filming that intro there and filming all the shooting. And it has been an extremely fun revolver. This RM66 is just getting me into a whole other genre of shooting. This is making me want to go out and compete more and not care if I'm gonna just toss this around or scratch it up. And I want to buy some leather holsters and bandoliers and all that stuff that's gonna hold my ammo. So, but my plan for this gun is going to be my beater guns. Because of the price, I'm not gonna care if I destroy it or anything like that. As long as it works, I'm just gonna want to go out and raise hell with it, I guess. So, but anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. And I hope you guys got some good info out of this video. And I appreciate all of you subscribing to my channel. And I love you all. Appreciate you. Catch you in the next one.